Monday, and welcome to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. You know, this is the summertime version of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, where I will be rebroadcasting some of the past um, conversations, dinner conversations that I've had since, I won't do since the first of the year, but only starting like in the spring, bringing you up to date if you haven't been keeping up with us and seeing what's been going on. We've been going a lot of places, doing a lot of things, seeing people making changes, pop, making it happen, trying to be where things are happening so that we can share them with you. I am your host, Janice Carter Miller, and I welcome you to have a seat at the table. Pull up a chair, get your glass of wine. It's almost dinner time. It's not dinner time quite yet. But to kind of rehash what's been going on for the month of July, last week we had Colonel Pam Stevenson, who's running for Attorney General of Kentucky. So put that in your head when we have to vote in November for Pam Stevenson, so that what's his name, David Cameron, won't be sitting in that seat anymore. He's not good for Kentucky. He's not good for Black folks. And before that, we had Mr. Dave Christopher, who is the executive director of AMPT, and he has a lot of summer programs going on with AMPT, as well as the incubator, where he's mentoring several entrepreneurs about their businesses, helping them get started and get a leg up on their businesses. I need to join that class, Mr. Christopher. But these are some of the people that have been on Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and they're very vital to our community. They help keep us growing. They help keep us progressive. You know, there's one thing I like about a community that's progressive, because I like to think that I'm progressive. So I try to be involved in those things that mean forward motion, that propel us forward, that put us ahead of the game. You know, we have to be not just in the game, we need to get ahead of the game. And even if you are an actor or a writer or a producer, now that the Screen Actors Guild is on strike, along with the Writers Guild, SAG and AFTRA are on strike, along with the Writers Guild. The people that write the shows, the actors that are in the shows, the people behind the scenes, they're all on strike. And I am a member on hiatus from SAG. So I am in support of the actors and the Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA. I became a member of AFTRA when I was a member of the New Birth, and because we were in a recording studio, we were signed up to be members of AFTRA. That was my first association with the organization. And then when I sang backup for Lola Falana, we did a lot of TV shows: Johnny Carson, Mike Douglas, Dinah Shore, Merv Griffin. I was on these types of shows with Lola Falana, but you had to fill out the AFTRA forms, Screen Actors Guild forms, but it was really AFTRA at that time. It wasn't actors. My girl in Las Vegas, Jackie Bascal, hooked me up with the Screen Actors Guild with a SAG card, because I did some extra work on some of the shows that were coming out of Las Vegas back in the day, like Dan Tanner and something else I did. Some of those, not Mission Impossibles, the TV show. But that's how I got involved with these unions. And I do believe in unions. I think they helped develop the middle class. And that's why businesses like GE or Ford or any of the industry businesses and places where a lot of Black folks had jobs and were able to come up and provide for their families, send their kids to college. Uh, it all had a lot to do with being a part of a union where they got um, good health insurance, and um, just all around care. We benefited from that. Making the cars up in Detroit, they benefited from being a part of a union. So I give my support to SAG and SAG-AFTRA. They're one now. It's called SAG-AFTRA, and also to the Writers Guild. And before Mr. Dave Christopher, we had Mr. Tony Parrott of MSD. He was here on again, telling you once again, if you missed him the first time he was on, telling you about what MSD, the programs that they have going along to help people in the community to lower their bills. For the seniors, they have programs. They have programs for people to come get jobs. Mentoring programs. So, you can see a lot of these programs. Sorry about that. The podcast on Facebook at Jantastic Productions, or on my YouTube channel, also Jantastic Productions. You can go back if you heard somebody was on. You can go back, type their name in. After you type in Jantastic Productions, you have to search for that person or that interview under Jantastic Productions, not just under YouTube. And you can pull them up. All of them are there on YouTube. I hope you liked our new trailer. Our trailer was created by Mr. Andre Seville down in Houston, Texas for me. I'm singing Andre, Silky Smooth Soul Brother. I want to thank you again for that. I can't seem to find the one that has your voice on it, but if you want to send that to me, I'd appreciate it. I'll probably just send you a text and ask you to send it to me again because I can't find it. But tonight we're going to have an encore performance broadcast where the guest was Miss Yvonne Smith of One West. One West is one of the new nonprofits. It's not that new in Louisville. I guess it's been here about 5 years. She's been here about 5 to 8 years, working with One West, and they're doing a lot of things and making some things happen in the West part of Louisville, trying to bring us up to speed, up to par. Our community has been overlooked for years. For as long as I've been living, our community has been overlooked. That's a long time. Yes, I've been here a long time. But one of the things I want to share with you before I play the interview with Miss Yvonne Smith, I call them, when I rebroadcast something, I call it an encore because I'm doing it again. Encore means again. But this morning, I had got a beautiful text from my girlfriend, Soror Sherry Bryan Hamilton. And it goes like this. Let me read this to you. I'm going to read it to you anyway. Good morning. Just sharing a forward text. In April, Maya Angelou was interviewed by Oprah on her 70th birthday. Oprah asked her what she thought of growing older. And there on television, she said it was exciting. Regarding body changes, she said there were many occurring every day, like her breast. They seem to be in a race to see which will reach her waist first. The audience laughed so hard they cried. She is such a simple and honest woman, and so much wisdom in her words. Maya Angelou said, this is what she said. I've learned that no matter what happens or how bad it seems, today, life goes on, and it will be better tomorrow. I've learned that you can tell a lot about a person by the way she handles these 3 things: a rainy day, lost luggage, and tangled Christmas tree lights. I've learned that regardless of your relationship with your parents, you'll miss them when they're gone from your life. How true. I've learned that making a living is not the same as making a life. I've learned that life sometimes gives you a second chance. I've learned that you shouldn't go through life with catcher's mitts on both hands. You need to be able to throw some things back. How true. I've learned that whenever I decide something with an open heart, I usually make a right decision. Good advice. I've learned that even when I have pains, I don't have to be one. I've learned that every day you should reach out and touch someone. People love a warm hug and just a friendly pat on the back. I've learned that I still have a lot to learn. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. How true. And she said, send this to 5 phenomenal women. If you do, you will boost another woman's self esteem. If you don't, the elastic will break and your underpants will fall down around your ankles. Believe me, I didn't take any chances on my elastic breaking. And she sent this to a lot of special women. I am sending that message out in the ether to all the women that may be listening to this podcast. Uh, Hoping that you gathered something from that. I just thought it was a very positive um, affirmation or suggestion or thought from Miss Maya Angelou, sent to me by Miss Sherry Hamilton Bryan. Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate that. All right, now let's check in with our interview with Miss Yvonne Smith, CEO of One West. And welcome to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I am your host, Janice Carter Miller. I'll pass her right on up. Have going on is that I'm trying to think if there is any. Well, I'm going to say the good news that we have going on today is that I have a wonderful guest with us today that's here in our city, living in our city, helping us grow our city and making Louisville a better place to be. Hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming? Come on, I got these little. Welcome,
Thank
Miss
you.
Yvonne Smith of One West, CEO and President. Welcome to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, darling. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you for having me.
And I thank you for agreeing. You were just so open. I met you at the farewell event for Greg Fisher, and I introduced myself to you, and you introduced yourself to me, and then I just said, "Well, I think you need to be on Guess Who's Coming to Dinner," and you agreed, just like that. But that's a wonderful thing when you're that free and comfortable. I was comfortable enough to ask you, I guess. So you said you was comfortable enough to agree, huh?
That's right. That's right.
So tell me about. I know that you're not from Louisville, but you've been here how long?
5 years.
5 years. What do you
Yeah.
think about our city?
I love Louisville. I love Louisville. I'm adulting in Louisville. It's my period in life post children, living at
Oh,
home.
okay, okay.
So it's been great. I've been able to get on the bourbon bandwagon.
Uh-oh.
I've been
All
able
right.
to get, yeah, the sip and dip train.
I
uh,
have to check that out. I haven't checked out the sip and dip train.
Well, there's so many wonderful aspects to Louisville.
Right.
You are always welcome to meet me at any of the great restaurants in the West End.
All
Uh,
right. All
you
right.
know, we
How
have
did you
some
get here?
uh, through the recruitment from One West. One West recruited me to Louisville in 2017,
Okay.
and I started January 2nd, 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us about One West, because I myself, I have to admit, I don't know. I know that you're doing things.
Mhm.
I mentioned to you about the TIP program. That's kind of where, and then I remember that One West was really involved during the pandemic.
Yes, yes.
That you all were doing some testing or things of that nature at some facilities.
We were doing feeding.
Oh, you were
Feeding.
doing feedings. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so we fed 400. We did 400 plates, feeding 400 individuals a day for 4 days a week, um, and we did that throughout the entire summer. And we
Wow.
basically, yes, we basically worked with an initiative, the Chef Lee initiative that they developed called the McAtee Kitchen, and
Okay.
we that was done in honor of David
David
McAtee's
McAtee. Yes.
life, celebration of his life and his resiliency and his commitment to the community,
Right.
feeding the community every chance he could. So that was our way of honoring him, and we were able to help people when the shutdown happened and families needed a place to eat, and then and a resource, and then also we fed people all through the social unrest. So
Right.
we would send trucks of food down to the protesters that were downtown
Oh,
to make
wow.
sure that those young people had food. So it was a community-wide effort. We could not have done it without the AKAs. They were very significant in helping us from the standpoint of support, just volunteering and just trying to help make sure the community had what it needed.
Now, Chef Lee owned his own restaurant on Main, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
And he
Yes.
closed the doors or he renamed his restaurant after Mr. McAtee.
No, we actually had a feeding program right here at One West at 2028 West Broadway, and we opened up the drive-through that used to be the old Republic Bank,
Okay.
and
Okay.
and we fed people right there outside so we could social distance and still make sure people got food.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah,
Things like that just warm your heart after you hear
yeah.
about the madness in the world.
That's
Then you
right.
hear about the kindness in the world.
Right.
You know,
And when it wasn't publicized, because we wouldn't let the media come down and publicize that, because it wasn't about trying to get credit for it. It was about doing the right thing at the right time.
all right.
Um, the other thing was we did a celebration of life with his family. So for the family members that were coming into town, we were able to get with the city, and the city was very collaborative. We closed off the street where his restaurant was,
Right.
and we were able to feed the family that was coming into town, and the
Oh, that's
community
beautiful.
as a whole was able to come in, and we just loved on folks and did an old fashioned down home southern cuisine, hot dogs, hamburgers, baked beans, all of the good stuff, and
Hmm.
just made sure people felt the love, because that's what he did. That's what David McAtee was about, and we just wanted to make sure as many people as possible could heal and have somebody to give them a hug during the time our community was hurting so bad. Badly.
Yeah. And the residual effect of all that went wrong during those periods of time.
Yes,
We're still built trying to find our way out of that.
that's right.
We're
That's right.
still just getting maybe a new police chief,
Yes, that's right.
and things of that nature, and having a new mayor. Are we starting over? Are we starting from where we were, or just hoping that we move forward in a positive way?
That's right. That's right.
So tell me about what you and One West got cooking for West Louisville.
Well, I definitely want you to know that this is a collaborative of many people, but it started with the 2014 Bingham Fellows class. And that class was comprised of local leaders and community folks that were a member of that Bingham Fellows class.
Okay.
And they saw the article West of Ninth, and it listed a lot of the disparities between East Louisville and West Louisville.
Right.
And it touched the hearts of so many people, and they made it their project one of the first, when they started One West, they were the 2014 Bingham Fellows class, but they started and got all their legal documentation in 2015. So that's when the organization was formally established. But
So this One West came out of the Bingham's Fellows.
yes,
Okay, the
yes,
leadership
and
program. Okay.
right, and when when they won as the premier project presented, UPS gave them their first $10,000 grant,
Okay.
and then from there, the first private money outside of the board members themselves came from Allison Wade Houston. And
All right
so,
now.
right, so that helped to get it started. And when you think about just basically the organization 7 years ago getting kicked off, and with local participation and support, and now you look at us today, it's mind-boggling that we could be at Rockefeller Foundation with $500,000 committed. Exactly. And our fundraising over
I
this
thought
past
I heard 500,000.
500,000.
Do me a
Yeah.
favor because I want
Yes.
you to be seen. You're sitting a little low. Can you
Okay.
get up? Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
So you
So,
got a $500,000 grant
right.
from the Rockefeller Foundation.
And
Wow.
we've raised $10 million over the past 5 years under the direction of Paul Costel, the president of Chase Bank. He established a committee whose job it was to raise money along with the board members, and they successfully raised $10 million over the course of the past 5 years. And so we hit that 10 million right at the end of 2022, and we are now going into our next phase, which will be to raise significantly more than that over the course of the next 3 years. And so the goal is to get these projects done, get wealth and equity moving in the West End, and to affect change in all 9 neighborhoods of the West End, to help, whether we're a catalyst, an advocate, or directly doing development. Our goal is to help our community grow
Wow.
and progress.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Kudos. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
I'm a cheerleader for One West.
Good deal.
That's to hear that those types of things, just to see some of the movement that is happening, even
Yes.
with Goodwill and
Yes.
One West now, that
Hmm.
I start to have a little more hope for my community.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely. Norton Hospital, the track,
the
Urban Leaks
track,
track.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Things are
See,
happening. The
I'm
YMCA.
I was born in Beach Terrace, Old Beach
Okay.
Terrace.
Okay.
I was raised in the West, Cecil, Garland. I went to
Yes.
Shawnee
Okay.
when you could go to the school in your neighborhood.
In your neighborhood. Yes.
And knowing that these things are coming about, I think it gives our city hope.
Yes.
These types of projects and organizations doing the heavy lifting
That's right.
behind the scenes. That's
That's
why I
right.
wanted you to come on, because I want them to know who you are. So when they see you, they say, girl, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's important that Louisville is a very good gregarious kind of city, whether you
Yes.
caught on to that or not. And
Yes.
when we like you, we like you. And
Right.
we
Right.
put our arms around you.
Right.
And and they treat you like they've known you forever.
That's
Have
right.
you noticed that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's wonderful um, that you accepted my invitation, because some people may not know who you are. They might have
Right.
heard One West, but they put a name with a face, and a face with the organization that's doing big things in our community. And
Yes.
that's why I wanted you here today, because I wanted them to just get to know you. I said, if I can get to know, I said, maybe I'll share it with y'all so y'all can just come on and watch.
Thank
So
you.
tell me some of the initiatives that One West has going on. I heard something about some historic buildings.
Yes.
Okay.
So we most recently did had the revitalization of two historic buildings on South 18th Street. And those buildings are going to have been converted into two restaurant spaces. And we're working with Chef Space to make sure that chefs that graduate out of their program from the incubator can go into our accelerator, which is going to give them their retail experience.
Okay.
We're also going to have one unit available for a community person to actually run their restaurant, their first restaurant retail experience in that space. It could be a community person who's expanding an existing business, but we have a business development strategy for those folks. And then we have additional buildings that are getting ready to be under construction. But the development of the row houses was done by a local minority contractor, and he's a third generation contractor. And we're really excited because he did a fantastic job on those buildings, and he worked very hard to hire subcontractors from the West End. So this was a labor of love for many of the contractors that worked on the project because they're from the community, and
So
that's
where
what
are
we're
these
about.
row houses?
They're on South 18th Street, just before from West Broadway. It's just before you get to Muhammad Ali, and if you're coming from Muhammad Ali, it is in that same block on the right. They're beautiful blue and gray row
Oh,
houses.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, I go to West Chestnut,
Okay,
so that's just right around the corner.
right
So,
around the corner.
okay, I have to check that out. Oh,
And
that's
please forgive me if you hear noise in the background. The community is meeting here from Westover, the neighborhood. And
okay.
so they're waiting for me. They will walk me out at night. So they're here just hanging out.
Oh, that's wonderful. I used to live in the West in Westover.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had the house that faced Chickasaw Park when you came over the first hump.
Oh,
I lived
yes.
right in front of the late Representative Daryl Owens.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
then we moved away because I couldn't, I was caregiving for my mother and I couldn't navigate the steps with her by myself. So we moved
Right.
to a place that was a little more convenient. But I know
Right.
all about Westover. Tell everybody I
Yes.
said hello.
I sure will. I
So
sure will.
tell me the other thing that I know that we touched upon
Yes.
was the TIF program. How is
Yes.
that coming along, and where is that now?
So the program is now the partnership under the direction of Laura Douglas,
Okay.
and they've raised all of the money, and they've established their board, and they're moving forward. And so, if people want more information, they are more than welcome to reach out to Laura Douglas, who lives in Westover,
Westover, right?
and also Rita Phillips is helping with that program. So they are providing information if anyone needs it. But One West role was really when the senators came calling and asked who we might be able to help them get in front of. Our role was to try to help them get to different community members, but we also provided the data that we had derived from the years of surveys and community engagement. And
Mhm.
so, one of the things we were able to share because of our conference on anti gentrification, we were also able to share information that came out of that. And most of the residents that responded during that, and also our CNU, Congress for New Urbanism conference that
Mhm.
we had over 200 community members participate in that. But the feedback was people did not want to be forced out of their
Their
homes. They
homes,
did
right?
not, right. They did not want to have their taxes go up and be forced out of their homes, either through that mechanism or through inspections and fines and things of that nature.
Hmm.
So our role was to bring that information to the table. So now what you have, due to our direct involvement with the legislators and giving that feedback, we were able to help get the tax base, the tax rate for homeowners, not investors,
Right.
but owner occupied homeowners in the West End. Their tax rate is staying the same as it was when the legislation was enacted. It will stay the same for the next 20 years. And so that was significant to make sure they were not negatively impacted by the creation of a TIF district.
So what happened to? I know the renters were
Mhm.
really concerned about their situation. How was
Yes.
that resolved?
So that still needs more attention. We did not have enough information at that time to address that issue on a large scale basis. And one of the things you don't want to do is run half cocked with a piece of information
Right.
and not have, what you need. And this legislation has not been done to our knowledge. We checked with Duke University, we checked with Harvard, we checked with others that we knew out in the field to find out if there was a comparative model. And
Right.
there, we could not find one. We also checked with LISC and several of their entities that they work with and collaborate with across the country. This will be a model um, initiative. If our community does the right thing with it and implements it the way to its highest and best ability, it could be phenomenal for low income and or economically challenged neighborhoods across the country.
Yeah. Well, this is hearing you talk about this. It makes me excited because when I moved back home, I had moved away. I
Mhm.
moved back. I lived in Las Vegas for like 35 years. And when I came back home, I wanted to live in a city that was progressive.
Yes.
I was actually on my way to Maryland,
Okay.
but I had to come check on my mother, and then as life steps in,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
still here 18 years later, and
Right.
that's okay. That's fine
That's
with me.
okay. Yeah.
But I hear you saying things that sound very progressive for this city because I told that was when Mayor Fisher was just running for mayor.
Mhm.
I asked him, I said, "Are you going to be a progressive mayor?" I said, because Louisville is sitting on the fence. I said, if we fall this way, we're a little backwards.
Mhm.
If we fall this way, we can be very progressive.
Right.
In the since the civil unrest, and I will share this with you, and I shared it with Mr. Parrott. I said, we have more Black CEOs and presidents of the more major organizations and companies in this city than ever, all at the same time. So I'm gonna go Louisville on you. Y'all are our think tank. You know
Yes.
that.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and that movement, just what all of what you just said, putting all that together,
Yes.
that's progressive. That's
Yes.
progress.
Yes. And
And
I will
that's
tell you,
happening in Louisville, Kentucky. Girl,
that's right.
go ahead.
That's right. Our elected officials, Sandra Neal and Pamela Stevenson, Representative Stevenson, they were phenomenal. They did their part. They carried the ball. They made sure they met with community members from across their districts and made sure that people, had access to ask questions.
Hmm.
Um, it doesn't mean that it's perfect, but it is definitely going to be significant. When have we, as a community, been able to control $30 million for
Absolutely.
and you can leverage that to get additional investment. And there are going to be other vehicles that people haven't heard of that we've got to get deployed on the ground in the West End to make sure that the disinvestment that has occurred is not allowed to remain the case and the story for our city long term. We've got to turn around the areas that have for so long have not seen investment happen, have not
Right.
seen the level of services that are needed.
Right.
And we're going to be very vigilant about getting those things in place. There's so many people working toward this, but at the same time, we don't want that investment and the development to come without an intentionality around hiring local people. And
Okay.
so making sure that our minority contractors are at the table to participate in building these buildings and rehabbing these buildings. We want to make sure they have the resources necessary to be at the table and to be successful. And so
Right.
that's why we started the plan room so that our minority contractors had a place that was intentional about helping them scale up.
So when you said that they raised the money, so they had to do some matching funds?
In terms of the
The tip.
legislators that worked on the tip, they had to actually get dollars in from various entities and
Mhm.
individuals to make up the 10 million that the state required that the local government come up with, and then private money of 10 million, and then the state put in 10 million. That's how the 30 million came to be.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
And that's been done.
That's been done.
Girl, that's ooh. Yes, yes, yes. It's great
Yes.
when you, that's good news.
Mhm.
You know, that's wonderful news. I'm pleased to hear that because it says just because it may not be out front and center, it's going on.
Exactly.
You know, it's going on. The
Exactly.
work is being done.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, and
Yes.
and we're going to see things happening and a lot of movement in the community.
And we encourage people to get involved. Get
How
involved.
can people get involved? What do you need the community to do?
Well, for first and foremost, definitely find out where committees are being established that need help. We're one of the entities that need more help, so people can call us. The same thing with the West End Opportunity Partnership. People can reach out to them. They need more help. The YMCA, all of these local community initiatives, we need the community to get involved on a deeper level, because right now there's something for everyone to do. We need our young people from the
Okay,
local high schools to get involved. They need to learn this work and understand, what's happening in their community and how they can be advocates and how that they're essential. Young people are essential because they are
absolutely.
they are the future, and so it is imperative that they be at the table as well. Um, and so I think that you're also going to see much more attention paid to artists. Artists are invaluable in our communities, and we need investment for them. We need to have them, we need housing for them. We need to have them involved. Um, Workforce housing is critical. At the same time, the job creation and expanding our workforce is paramount to our success.
So I think I'm going to have to get some more information from you on paper, so
Absolutely.
that, or on paper or in the email, um,
Absolutely.
so that I can grasp what's needed and put that information out into the
Yes.
community so that they know, because I need to know,
Yes.
because I have no problems volunteering, and I want to be useful. I
Thank you.
say I don't want to be used, but I want to. It's use is okay. Misuse doesn't work.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
so and everybody needs to participate. In order to make our whole community better,
Right.
everybody's got to be involved.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, you've almost left me speechless, and that's saying a lot.
Thank you.
I'm just thinking about what you just said, and all those things, they're happening. There's
Yes.
movement going on in our city. So in the future, what do you see happening in West Louisville? And even the project you were talking about, the historic buildings. How
Yeah.
how is that's going to uplift our community? Because we've got a lot of historic buildings west of Ninth Street.
That's right. That's right. And in many cities, they've torn down that historic fabric and they built new and they've erased that history. In
Mhm.
Louisville, we have a commitment to the amazing architecture that still exists, and most of it is in the West End.
Right.
So it does take resources um, to continue to keep those properties sacred, rehab them to a level of as close to its original, origins as possible. So we're going to need everybody's help. A lot of people don't understand the significance of that, but that's part of our heritage, part of our culture.
Absolutely.
That's our history, and so that has value and importance in and of itself. Not to
Absolutely.
mention the culture that it represents for the people who grew up in the West End. And so we're intentional about that. Where we can, we want to retain those historic buildings and bring them back to their original vibrancy. And where we can't, we want to do as much as we can to make sure whatever is developed that we're working on pays homage to the community and its historic fabric. And so that's
You know
important.
what that makes me think of? The first historic building that I think of is the old Quinn Chapel
Oh, yes. Beautiful.
next to the Y,
Yeah.
because that's where I used to go as a teenager
Okay.
for the meetings before we went out to march.
Yes. Okay.
So, and when I see the build, I saw some scaffolds up at one time, and then they came down
Mm-hmm.
because I thought they were getting ready to refurbish it. And I'm
Yes.
saying they can't tear it down
You're right.
because that was where Dr. King came. His brother was a pastor at Zion Baptist
Mm-hmm.
Church, and
Mm-hmm.
so we had a hookup
Right.
in
Right.
Louisville,
Right.
So as a teenager, I remember catching a bus and going to Quinn Chapel up on Ninth and Chestnut, and tell my mother, if I'm not home by 10 o'clock, I'm locked up. I'm in Children's Center. Come get me. So those
Well,
places like Quinn Chapel, there are plenty more around the
right.
community. Even they're keeping the building over at in Beecher Terrace, Baxter. That's where I took
Yes.
my first dance lesson.
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? So
Yes.
when you say that, my history, my culture
Mm-hmm.
is all mixed in,
Right. Right.
and
That's right.
not just mine, but the whole cities, the people that have been fortunate to live as long as I have.
That's
Uh,
right.
it's something to look forward to,
Mm-hmm.
Yvonne,
Yes.
and it should make us feel hopeful about the future. If we can
Right.
get this message over to, like you said, our youth,
Yes.
this is the
Yes.
message that we have to get over to them.
That's right.
They come from something,
That's
something
right.
bigger and better than what they're seeing on an everyday basis. They
That's
come from
exactly
something
right.
else that's richer,
Right.
and they have
Right.
to know what that is in order to have a respect for it.
That's right. That's right. And
And
it's our job to make sure they know.
yeah, we got to let them
Mm-hmm.
know. I'm going to
Yeah.
do my best because, I didn't have children, but I have so much that I want to share, even with my art form.
Yes.
Probably nothing about me, but I'm an entertainer.
Okay.
And I left Louisville and I did all right for myself.
Okay.
And then I come back home, but I want to share the things that I learned because nobody taught me how to get into show business, to be a
Mm-hmm.
backup singer and, to
Right.
have my own band and live in New York and live in Paris and
Yeah.
travel and see the world and then come
Right.
back home. I can tell you how I did that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I grew up in West Louisville.
Okay. Sounds like brunch at Wild Eggs to me.
Hey, I'm ready. You just look, when we get finished, we're going to look at our calendars.
That's right. Mimosa time.
That sounds good to me. Well, I want to thank you so much. And I want to
Absolutely.
ask you one more thing. Is there anything that you want to share with the community that you think it's important for them to know, or some way that you feel about the city or what you see for us?
Yes. I do think this is the time where as many of us that can lean in need to, because our children are dying at tremendous rates, and the trauma that our community has experienced is unbelievable. And we've got to give people hope. We've got to give them something to see and believe in. We That was the reason we sponsored Winter Wonderland. It was just so important to give people love during the
Yes,
holiday season, and so I want you all to know we want to bring it back again and again and
please.
again.
Yes, yes.
And we want to make sure that this year you can see the wreaths on the light poles and the bows, and that people can begin to have some amazing things to look forward to. And that only happens if we're intentional. And I want people to understand we have to resist anything that polarizes us away from one another and continue to
Absolutely.
find ways to work together and be collaborative, and be helpful. But hope is has got to be reinstated, be through action, and we've got to show folks that there are positive things that we can focus on and work together on. Um, we don't have to be afraid to get to know each other. We don't
No,
have to be afraid to work together. We don't have to agree on everything, but we
right.
can be respectful. And if we as adults emulate how that happens, we can pass that on to our children. And that's something I remain hopeful for.
Well, I know you and I really sure enough had to sit down to the table because this is not enough for me.
Okay.
This is not enough for me. And I have some things that I would like to share with you. And I'm quite sure you'll say, okay, you need to do this and go do this. And we need to have that conversation. But I thank you for joining us. It's
Thank
dinner time. Bon
Yes.
appetit.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. And whenever you want to come back, if you got something going on that you want to let the community know about, just let me know. You got a spot.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being my guest. Enjoy your evening.
Absolutely.
Have a fantastic evening, darling.
Thank you. You as well.
All right, sweetheart. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
All right, Miss Yvonne Smith. Did you hear that? Things are moving. We got things going on in our community. One West End opportunity. It sounds exciting. I'm glad. I'm glad to know the TIF situation has been put in place. Whether everybody agrees with it or not, it's in place. It's ready to start working for those that have been targeted or not targeted, that have been sought out or that have sought to be a part of it. That it's time that they'll be able to participate. There's hope for our city. Yeah, I feel good about that. There's hope for Louisville. We're getting ready to change our imagery because our imagery has not been good, you know. So we need to be the model city. Just like she said, we've got some things going on that we can become the model city. So for those of you that are listening and want to be involved, One West, just call and ask him, what can I do? How can I get involved? Where do you need my services as a volunteer? We have to, the service that we give to one another is what makes our humanity a loving humanity. Because you can't keep it all to yourself. You can't, everything that you do is not just for you. You have to share with the world. It's just how it is. You may not think so, but it is how it is. On that note, I'm going to say today is the today is the 30th of January. Lord have mercy, the month's almost over. I only say Happy New Year until the month of January is over. Next week, we're going to have Mr. Tony Parrott, CEO and president of MSD, will be here next Monday. And then we're going to have a young man from Liberty Financial to come in and talk about some tools that entrepreneurs need and home buyers need. He works at Liberty Bank, Liberty Financial, it's called. And then I have Miss Bernadette Bascom. She's up in Seattle, Washington. And she has a new product that she invented with Microsoft. This is my girlfriend. Okay. So she's going to be on. So the next 3 weeks, we've got our guests all lined up for you. We hope that you'll like us and subscribe to us, depending on where you're listening, and start to watch us on Roku, because we're trying to lift up our viewership by having everyone watch us on Roku more so than Facebook and YouTube. Uh, Roku is our network. It's kind of like Netflix is its own network. You can go on Netflix and you can find all these different programs, dramas and comedies and this and that and the other. Where you can go on Jantastic Productions on Roku and you will be able to see podcasts, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, religious services, an hour of power with Pastor Jack Miller. We're going to have a girls' night out. We're going to have music specials once a quarter. Just some other things. And we're going to have small businesses that want to be on social media or the internet to share their businesses with you on our network. We're reaching out to them as we speak. So until next Monday, Friday, you will see this repeat show. It's not called a repeat, it's called an encore. So guess who's coming to dinner with Encore on Friday at 7 p.m. Please tune in. Bon appetit. It's dinner time. Have a fantastic meal. Your meal should be fantastic. Enjoy your evening. Take care.